Hello, I'm Paul, and this is Paul Plays with Fire. Welcome. Today on the show, we're going to be celebrating one of the rites of spring, the first asparagus of the season. And we're going to be doing it with one of my favorite asparagus dishes, chicken and asparagus with black bean sauce. This is going to be good. Let's get busy. Okay, the first step in this process is to make a marinade to put the chicken in. So we'll move this wok back out of the way. And we'll take our cut up chicken. We've just taken about a pound of chicken breast and cut it up into bite-sized pieces or chopstick-sized pieces. And they're going to take a Ziploc bag, put in 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, 2 teaspoons of soy sauce, Kikkoman soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of rice cooking wine, so 2 tablespoons. That looks about right, maybe a little more. Marinades are not an exact science. And then a teaspoon of sesame oil. And that adds a real nice flavor to it. We're going to put the chicken right in there. The beauty of doing this in a Ziploc is you can just seal it up and mish it all together in the bag. You don't have to mix it ahead of time. And everything is perfectly coated and perfectly covered. Now we'll put that in a plate in the fridge until we're ready for it, probably about a half an hour or so. Next up in the process, we're going to get our asparagus ready. Back in the day when I had a big garden, I had a big asparagus patch too. And boy, the asparagus that came out of there was just delicious, and there is not really much better than asparagus that comes fresh out of the garden. So in order to properly prepare asparagus, I brought it home from the store, and just like fresh flowers, I cut the ends off it and put it in water and let it rehydrate a little bit because the grocery stores don't treat the asparagus very good. And then when I'm ready to cook with it, I've rinsed it and washed it so it's ready to use. I'm just going to grab it towards the end and snap it, and it will naturally snap at a certain spot. And avoid the temptation to go, it seems like you're throwing away a lot of it. And it's like, oh, I can't throw that all away. I'll tell you what, if you don't throw it away, you will regret it, because then when you're eating later and you run across this woody piece of asparagus, well, that's where you tried to leave too much. So we're just gonna go through this and snap them off. And there we go. And that'll be a nice pile of asparagus. Okay, there we now have a nice pile of prepared asparagus. That's just perfect. That looks very good. And now we're going to get it ready to throw in the wok. And what we're going to do to prepare for that is first we're going to go through and chop the ends off. The ends cook very quickly. And so we don't want to add them at the same time as everything else, as the rest of the asparagus. We're going to cut the ends off and then add them at the last second, because if we cooked them as long as the rest of the asparagus, they would just practically fall apart, and you wouldn't even know they were there. But when they're done perfectly, just steamed just a little bit, they're just such a delicious morsel of flavorful asparagus-ness. So after we've cut all the heads up, we'll take the rest of the stock and cut it into, once again, bite-size or chopstick-sized pieces, and then we'll combine it all into the wok later on. Okay, we got our asparaguses all separated into tips and stems, and now we're going to cut up our onions. We've got 2 smallish onions. Normally I would only use 1, but they're smaller. And we're going to just simply cut those into quarters and throw those in with the asparagus tips, because they'll take about the same amount of time. Excuse me, not the asparagus tips, the asparagus stems. I'll get it right eventually. Very easy to cut the onions this way. And the only two, the onions and the asparagus are really the only 2 vegetables in this dish, so Doesn't hurt to have a little extra onion. Okay, that's all ready to go. Next up, we're gonna make our sauces. The first sauce we're gonna make is the chili black bean sauce. Black bean and garlic sauce. It's a fermented black bean sauce. Oh, it smells so good. We're gonna take a tablespoon of that. When I first started using black bean sauce in chicken and asparagus was after the local Asian place in town that we've been going to for probably 40 years. And he serves chicken and asparagus every spring. And so one time I asked him, I says, John, why does yours taste so much better than mine? He looked kind of both ways. He says, black bean sauce. So the secret is black bean sauce, and it does make a huge difference. Now, me being the kind of guy that I am, I tend to overkill and I put a lot of black bean sauce and I put it in the title. That's okay, it still makes it delicious. So we're using a tablespoon of black bean sauce, a teaspoon of chili sauce. It's a little hot, so you adjust according to your flavor tolerance. It's very hot. It's not just a little hot, it's very hot. And then we're gonna put in the garlic. We've got some minced garlic here. Normally I would put garlic and ginger in the sauce. I didn't have any ginger today, so just garlic it is. Rescue the spoon out of there, mix that up. That looks real good and smells good too. It smells so good. So let those flavors get to know each other and we'll just set that over here. We'll need that later. For the second sauce, we're gonna take 3 teaspoons of cornstarch, 2 teaspoons of soy sauce, a teaspoon of oyster sauce, and we put that together with a 1/2 cup of chicken broth that was already in the measuring cup. And then we'll just mix that up. Oyster sauce is a little sticky, so it takes a little bit to mix it up. And then we'll set that aside until it's time for the wok. And now we're gonna get some rice going, and that's really pretty easy. I mean, that's just 2 cups of water boiling and 1 cup of rice. We'll give that a stir, let that go for 20 minutes, and then it can just sit until we're ready to use it. Rice is very forgiving like that. There we go. Now put a lid on it and bring it back to a simmer and we're good to go. We got our wok hot. Looks really good, ready to go for the chicken. Our rice is done. That looks really good. That's nice and fluffy. Smells good too. It smells nice and starchy. We'll set that aside until we're ready for it. And it's starting to smoke, so that's ready. Now we've got our chicken. Remember the chicken that we marinated earlier? We've got our chicken. We've removed it from the marinade, and now we're gonna and this part goes really fast. We'll cook that real fast, and then when it's done, we'll remove it, and we'll cook the rest of the vegetables, and we'll add them all back together at the end. Then we'll eat. Yeah, that wok was good and hot. That is done. We'll pull it out quick. Now we're going to add the onions. When I was preparing, I said we'd add the onions and the asparagus at the same time. But the onions take just a little bit longer, so we'll just give them a quick cook before we add the asparagus, because the asparagus, especially the thin stuff, just doesn't take very long. Okay, now we'll add the asparagus. Let that cook for a little bit longer. Now we're going to add just a couple tablespoons of water. Adding a couple tablespoons of water to let it steam a little bit. And then we'll cover that for just a few minutes, maybe a minute. That's enough. Now that's where it all comes together. We're going to add our chicken back. Add our chicken broth, cornstarch, soy sauce mixture back. Add our chili pepper, black bean sauce, garlic mix back. Stir that all up in there. The only thing we have left to add is our asparagus tips. And they are in. There, just that fast. We are done. Turn that heat off. Let it sit and rest for just a couple minutes while we get a plate together. Okay, we're about getting ready to eat here. The chicken is done. Chicken and asparagus is done. We're going to make a little ramekin of rice. We've taken our rice that we cooked. It's all nice and starchy and sticky. Fill up this little ramekin. Just like that, we got fancy rice. And then we'll add the chicken and asparagus around it. Well, here we go. We have a delicious plate of chicken and asparagus and black bean sauce. And just look at that. Isn't that something? It's so pretty. See if I still have any chopstick skills. Marinated chicken and the asparagus together, so good. And the onions still have just a little bit of crunch to them. Wow, wasn't that delicious? So good and so easy to put together in a heck of a hurry. I'm Paul, and this has been Paul Plays with Fire. Thanks for watching.